pain is a signal, it's a messenger from life itself. It's not here to define you or sentence you to a lifetime of suffering, but rather to alert you, to wake you up, and to push you toward change. Think about it. When you touch a hot surface, the pain isn't there to punish you, it's there to protect you. It tells you something's wrong, that you need to move your hand, that you need to adjust. The same is true in life. Pain is not the final word, it's the call to action. When we experience pain, it's easy to believe it's permanent, that it will stay forever, that it's some kind of judgment on who we are or where we're going. But the truth is, pain is temporary, and its role is far deeper than most of us realize. It's like a flashing light on the dashboard of your life, letting you know that something requires attention. Maybe it's a broken relationship, a stagnant career, or a personal habit that no longer serves you. Whatever it is, pain shows up to nudge you, sometimes gently, sometimes with force, toward what you need to change, grow, or heal. Pain has intelligence. It knows where the cracks are, the vulnerabilities you've been ignoring. It points directly to the areas in your life where you've grown complacent, comfortable, or even disconnected. And while it's uncomfortable, even unbearable at times, it's also an incredible guide. It doesn't sugarcoat things or allow you to stay in denial. Instead, it demands your attention, your reflection, and ultimately your action. The challenge is that most people misunderstand pain. They see it as a punishment, as if life is against them. But pain isn't here to work against you, it's here to push you forward. It's here to help you evolve. When you're willing to listen, to really pay attention, pain reveals what's missing, what's broken, and what's possible. It's not just a sign of what's wrong, it's also a sign of what can be made right. Pain in its rawest form holds immense energy. It's intense, consuming, and all-encompassing. But here's the truth about pain. It's energy that can be redirected. The very force that seems to break you can also be harnessed to build you. When you transform pain into fuel, you're not just enduring it, you're using it. You're taking its weight and converting it into momentum that drives you forward. Think of it like fire. It can destroy or it can power an engine. The choice lies in how you channel it. Pain has a way of digging deep into your soul, exposing layers of strength you didn't even know existed. It sharpens your focus, making you acutely aware of what matters most and what you need to do to move forward. That clarity, though born from discomfort, can become your greatest weapon. Pain pushes you to a place where you have to decide, do you let it consume you, or do you harness it to propel yourself forward? It's in that decision that transformation begins. The energy of pain doesn't disappear, it's redirected, repurposed, and reignited into something productive and powerful. When you're in pain, your mind and heart are often in chaos, but that chaos is also a source of creation. It forces you to think, to feel, to reflect. It awakens a fire inside you that says, I can't stay here. I can't let this be my story. That fire, if nurtured, can become the driving force behind your actions, your decisions, and your relentless pursuit of something greater. Pain strips away the unnecessary and leaves you with the raw materials to rebuild, stronger and more determined than ever before. Every time you feel that pain, it's like adding fuel to the fire, a fire that burns not to destroy, but to drive you forward. Reframing your story is one of the most powerful tools you have, because the way you perceive your experiences determines the way you live your life. Pain, failure, disappointment, these are events, moments in time, but they do not define you unless you allow them to. Your story isn't written in stone. It's a living, evolving narrative that you have the power to shape. Every painful chapter, every setback, every hardship is just a single piece of the larger story, not the entirety of it. When you choose to reframe these moments, you're not denying the pain. They happened and they're real, but you're assigning them a different meaning, a meaning that empowers rather than diminishes you. The story we tell ourselves about what we've been through shapes our identity. If you tell yourself that pain has made you a victim, you begin to live as one. But if you tell yourself that pain has been a catalyst for growth, you start to see yourself as resilient, as someone who overcomes. The way you frame your story determines how you perceive your past and, more importantly, how you approach your future. It's not about rewriting the facts, it's about reshaping the interpretation. That heartbreak wasn't the end of love, it was the beginning of learning what love truly means. That failure wasn't proof of your inadequacy, it was the lesson that showed you a better way forward. Reframing doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending it didn't hurt. It means taking control of how you let it impact your identity. It's looking at the moments that broke you and deciding they're not the final act, but the setup for your comeback. When you reframe your story, you become the author again. You stop being a character that things happen to and start being the person who decides what happens next. The pain becomes the turning point, not the defining feature. It's the plot twist that leads to the rise, the struggle that sets the stage for strength. Break free through action, because in the face of pain and struggle, inaction is your greatest enemy. It's easy to get stuck in the mindset that things will change on their own, that the pain will eventually fade away, or that circumstances will shift with time. But here's the truth. Nothing changes unless you take action. Pain can leave you feeling helpless, paralyzed by fear or doubt, but the antidote to that paralysis is movement. Movement is power. Action doesn't have to be perfect or grand. It simply needs to be forward. Even the smallest step in the right direction weakens the grip of pain on your life and starts to push you towards something greater. When you take action, you are actively choosing not to let the pain control you. Pain can make you feel like you're in a storm, and when you don't take action, you become a victim to the winds. But when you choose to act, you're steering your ship through the storm. It's not about waiting for the conditions to be perfect. It's about moving in spite of them. You might not have all the answers. You might not know exactly what the end will look like, but the simple act of taking one step forward shifts the energy. It creates momentum, and that momentum builds until you look back and realize you've traveled miles from where you started. Action is what breaks the cycle of stagnation. When you're stuck in pain, you're trapped in a loop of overthinking, of fear, and of uncertainty. The longer you stay there, the deeper you sink into inaction. But when you take action, you disrupt that cycle. You break free. You give yourself the power to change your reality. It might feel uncomfortable at first, and the pain might still be present, but with every step, you move further away from the grip it has on you. You realize that your choices, your decisions, and your actions are what ultimately shape your destiny. You are no longer a passive observer of your life. You are the one who determines where you go next. Action forces you to engage with your pain in a way that healing and recovery can't happen without. It challenges you to confront your obstacles head on. And while it may feel overwhelming, it's this very confrontation that turns the tide. Pain becomes powerless in the face of action. because action is the declaration that you refuse to be controlled by it. You refuse to be passive. You refuse to sit idly while your life unfolds around you. Instead, you step into the arena, face your challenges, and transform your pain into the fuel that propels you forward. Unleashing your inner strength is not about finding something external or waiting for the right moment. It's about discovering the power that has been within you all along, buried under layers of fear, doubt, and pain. Pain, as harsh as it feels, is one of the greatest forces for awakening that strength. It strips away the illusions, the comforts, and the excuses, leaving you with no choice but to dig deep and find out what you're truly made of. It's in the moments when you feel like you've hit rock bottom, when everything seems to be falling apart, that your inner strength begins to stir. It's not loud or dramatic at first. It's a quiet, persistent voice that whispers, "Keep going, you're not done yet." Your inner strength isn't something that needs to be created, it's something that needs to be revealed. It's already there, waiting for you to call upon it. Every time you face pain, every time life challenges you in ways you didn't expect, it's an opportunity to connect with that part of yourself that refuses to quit. This strength isn't born from comfort or ease. It's forged in the fires of adversity. It's built every time you endure a sleepless night worrying about the future, every time you stand back up after being knocked down, every time you face a fear that once held you captive. To unleash your inner strength, you must confront the beliefs that tell you you're not strong enough. Those beliefs are lies that have taken root over time, fed by past failures and the opinions of others. Pain challenges those lies, forcing you to see them for what they are. When you push through that pain, when you take even the smallest step forward despite it, you begin to dismantle those false narratives. You start to see glimpses of the strength you've always had, the resilience that has carried you through every difficulty you've faced. Inner strength isn't about pretending everything is fine or denying the reality of your struggles. It's about standing in the middle of the storm and saying, "I'm still here." It's about acknowledging the pain, the fear, and the doubt, but refusing to let them dictate your actions. This strength doesn't make the pain disappear, it transforms the way you experience it. What once felt like a crushing weight becomes the very resistance that builds your muscles, your willpower, and your ability to overcome. Unleashing your inner strength is also about recognizing the lessons that pain teaches you. Every challenge you face, every hardship you endure contains wisdom. It teaches you about your limits, and then it teaches you how to push past them. It shows you what truly matters and forces you to let go of what doesn't. It sharpens your focus, your determination, and your ability to persevere. And as you begin to see the strength you possess, you realize that this strength isn't just a reaction to pain, it's the foundation of who you are. It's the part of you that's unshakable, untouchable, and unbreakable, no matter what life throws your way. Pain is not the end, it's the beginning of transformation. It's a signal that pushes you to grow, a fuel that drives you to act, a story that challenges you to reframe your life, and a force that awakens the strength within you. Every painful moment carries the seeds of power and resilience, waiting for you to harness them. When you rise above the pain, you don't just survive, you thrive, stronger and more capable than ever before. Remember, the power to overcome lies within you. Embrace the pain, transform it, and let it propel you to rise higher and stronger.